What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is the only sports podcast welcoming back Casino. What's
Hi.
going on, Casino? How's double fatherhood treating you?
Pretty good, actually. It's been pretty good. It's been nice to have him home. Took a little bit for him to come home. Since he was early, he had to stay at the hospital for a little bit, but now he's back. He's not back, but now he's home. So we got everybody here, which is nice. The daughter's been good with him, and he's doing good. Yeah, just everybody's been good. But
it's a cute baby.
don't have a lot of time. So those 2 week absences was when he was being born, and then I was still in the hospital until this last week. So
yes, and then what is it? Last episode I did solo for over an hour. I don't know how people do that multiple hours every day, like 4 or 5 times a week. My fucking throat, my voice, everything was shot for the rest of the day. I always am drinking tea on the podcast. Still did not help, but it's good to have you back, Casino.
Thanks, man.
I like it's much better to just talk and then bounce stuff off each other. Because when I would say something, it'd just be like I'd be waiting for a response and nothing. But you want to so we're just going to do week 3 picks. We got to talk about some college football and then get out of here. But let's talk about anything we missed.
That I want to talk about
2. We can also talk about yes. And then we can also touch on the Thursday night game. I mean, I didn't get your pick, but I'm assuming, like everyone else, you were picking the 49ers. And
oh, yes, all day.
Yeah, it was a blowout. And I think everybody knew it was going to be a blowout. So, yeah. But what are your thoughts on?
We could talk about that game in a minute, but go for it. What's my thoughts on what? I'm just excited to be back.
I know. No, but I said, what are your pressing thoughts about week 2? Anything you wanted to talk about that you didn't get to say on the show?
Yeah. So Cowboys, they're looking good, but again, they play Jets without Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, I didn't get to talk about that. So quick note on that. No matter how much I hate Aaron Rodgers, I don't like seeing players get injured. That, especially something that serious where it is an Achilles tear. I don't like Rodgers, but I was excited to see what he was going to do this year because he was actually seemed like he was turning a corner outside of being a douche. But that could all been part of his game. But whatever. So that's sad to see. But for the Cowboys to win 30-10, they're like, oh yeah, we're the best. We're the best. Mika Parsons, whatever his name is. Parsons. I'm over it. I turned the mute off or mute on. I can't handle it.
Yeah.
But Bengals, I think, in trouble. I think they're in trouble. I don't know what's going on with them. I'm worried about them on my pick. Ravens, with Robinson going out, and then now Hill and Tyreek. Hill, we'll talk about this coming up, but now their second running back, who was the third, is out. And then you also have OBJ is out. They're going to struggle here for a little bit. So there's been a lot of injuries. Let's see here. Bills bounce back. Happy to see that. I did call them for that comeback win. Falcons might actually be legit. And let's see, what else do I want to touch on? There's so much. The Patriots are having – everybody's still trying to get on the Patriot chain, but I can't. I just can't. They're awful. All the Joneses are hurt. You have Jonathan Jones. You have Jack Jones. You have Marcus Jones. Literally, my friend said it, and I'm going to call him out, Sabdi. You're saying that it's the keeping up with the Joneses. Mac Jones better be worried. It's come. The curse of the Jonesies are coming for him next. I do want to say, yes, the Steelers won, but the Browns would have won that game if Chubb didn't get his knee blown out.
Oh, dude, that was one of the worst injuries I've ever seen. That is fucking brutal.
I had Chubb in my fantasy. He's my number 1 back, and I'm short on running back. So I did immediately, though, pick up Kareem Hunt. I do know that I tried to pick up Ford, but I know that before did get picked up, somebody was paying attention and picked up Ford before me on the waivers. So that's sad. But I think the Browns would have beat them. I still don't think Steelers are as good as everybody thinks they are. Yeah.
Yeah, I might be off
So
that bandwagon already.
that's my recap on. Yeah, my recap. Really, I think Chargers. I still think they're good, but they just keep losing close games. And I think the 49ers are the best team in the league. That's kind of where my take is.
Yeah. We can segue to the 49ers Giants game last night after
that's what I was doing.
The 2-0-2 teams, I think, that have shocked everybody, ourselves included, have been the Chargers and the Bengals. If you had to put all the money you have right now on one of those two teams to make the playoffs, which one would you pick?
Oh, man. I'm gonna have to say Chargers. Bengals make me nervous now. Like I'm now worried for them. I say Chargers because Chargers are still in every game, and I do like their team chemistry a little bit better right now. I'm full blown worried for the Bengals, personally.
Yes. I am also full blown worried for the Bengals. Only saving grace is the Chargers have the 5th hardest schedule in the league, and the Cincinnati Bengals have the 12th. So I guess they have a little bit better shot to
right. And now strength of schedule is all over the place because
but I don't know, man. Either of those teams just. But
strength of schedule is all different now because there's been teams that have won. So, just saying. I said the strength of schedule is all jumbled up now because teams that are, there is. Should have got on Discord. No delay.
No, keep going.
Yeah. So where I'm going with that is some teams that we thought were going to be bad have actually been decent and staying in games and won either a game or two. So strength of schedule, I think, is all over the place now, especially when it comes to the AFC teams.
Well, and I mean, the NFC South is just, they have 3 teams now that are 2-0, and the one team that in their division that's bad actually doesn't look that bad. Like the Panthers, I mean, I don't trust them at all, but they play hard. Like I think Bryce Young, or not Bryce Young. No, it is Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young is actually pretty good. So I don't know. NFC South coming out of the gates. But let's talk about last night's game. Start of week 3. It was a blowout. San Francisco 49ers win against the New York Giants 30-12. This game was a 10-point spread going into the game. They win by 18. I think every single person on the planet picked the 49ers to beat this Giants team. So that happened. Did you learn anything about either team last night, or was it just kind of exactly what we expected?
I learned that Deebo Samuel's back. As long as he can stay healthy. When he went down last night, I was nervous. I thought he was done and hurt again. But I mean, that guy is absolutely, he's a stud. He's a stud for a reason. So Deebo, what was his thing? He was 6 receptions for 129 yards with 1 touchdown. Absolute monster of a game. Great for him. And what I learned about the Giants is Daniel Jones, I thought was going to be the only good thing about New York this year. There's nothing good about New York this year. Like I honestly thought that they were going to have Daniel Jones was going to have a decent year, but the team itself was going to be tough to watch. But I mean, he only had 137 yards. The total team offense was 150 yards to 441 yards. That is astounding. Rushing yards, 29 yards. Like it's kind of scary. Like that, those stats are absolutely insane. Plus, they got blown out of time possession by almost, it was 2/3 to 1/3. So San Fran just absolutely dominated. I think San Fran is probably the best team right now. Brock Purdy is definitely coming out, and he's showing why he, is the starter this year. He absolutely balled out, 310 yards, 2 touchdowns. The kid's good. I truly think if he has another year like this, he's on the route to being like, if he does another year, so say he's good this year, makes it to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, but doesn't win, fine. But then he has that same exact year next year. He's Patrick Mahomes Brady level, in my opinion, because he's stellar. Well, he's so good. Like, he's not making rookie mistakes. He's not making mistakes that you would think, the last pick in the draft would be making, like, or should be making. He's not making those mistakes. He's protecting the football. He's playing really well. He's doing the short passes. He's getting rid of the ball very fast. I like everything that I'm seeing from Brock Purdy.
Yeah. And, well, the crazy thing is, I mean, you look at their schedule, they play maybe, potentially 2 or 3 good teams the entire season. Like, obviously, their next game is against the Cardinals, which I think it's going to look a lot like the Giants game, which the Giants are... They're still a team that fights despite getting blown out week 1. I mean, you can say they don't fight because they got blown out week 1, but then in week 2, they do the comeback. In the 49ers game, they were winning, like, going into, like, midway through the second quarter, and then it just got out of hand. So they're a team that fights. You can say the same thing about the Cardinals, which is who the 49ers play next. But then their games after that, they play Cowboys 49ers, which... those are my 2 most hated teams at the moment as an Eagles fan. But even I am like, I can't wait to see that game, to see what the offenses look like against probably the 2 best defenses in the league. But then after that, they go Browns, Vikings, Bengals. So Vikings, Bengals are supposed to be good this year. Neither are good. Browns, I don't know what the fuck the Browns are, especially after Nick Chubb is out. Then they go Jaguars, who haven't had that great of a season this far, and then they go Buccaneers, who are surprising 2-0. Then Seahawks, Eagles, Seahawks, 49ers, Ravens, Cardinals, Commanders, Rams. Like, all of those games, but the Cowboys, the Eagles, maybe Jags or Bucks, Bucks, Bengals, I think are all just like guaranteed wins. This could legitimately be a
Did you say
2-loss team?
Did you say the Jaguars aren't having a good season?
Yeah, they scored 9 points against the Chiefs, and they had 47 attempts to get to the red zone in that game. That game was...
I don't think they're a bad team. I just think, I mean, they still played well against the Chiefs. I know we picked the Jags to win, and they didn't win. You can't be salty about that, man. I still think they're going to be a really good team this year.
Yeah, but if you look at, it's kind of, they're having the same kind of issue as the Bengals, which is, if you look at their like advanced stats when it comes to offense, they're like a bottom 5 team in the league in just how good their offense is, which means they don't have a good offense at the moment. I don't know what, with Joe Burrow, you can say the injury and the foot has kind of like flared up and has given him issues. That's like clearly apparent when he plays. But when it comes to like Trevor Lawrence or Patrick Mahomes, it's just like, or even Jalen Hurts, it's like 3 of the best quarterbacks from last year. They all just kind of look like they just forgot how to play offense. I don't know. This season is real weird so far when it comes to like elite offenses. But let's move on to predicting the other games. We're on a time crunch here, Casino. Let's just go right down the line. Oh, I was looking at the 49ers offense. Also, last thing with the Giants is I didn't understand, and we did this when we were talking about the Giants in our preview. Everybody made a giant deal like about like the Giants getting Darren Waller, and all of a sudden now Daniel Jones has a big weapon and all this kind of stuff. And then we literally talked about how Darren Waller hasn't been good and he's been injury prone for like the past 3 years. He's been completely like just missing in all the Giants games. I don't even know when he's on the field. When he catches, he gets like 6 yards, and then you'll look at the stats at the end of the game and it was like 4 receptions for 20 yards. And it's just like, why did everyone expect this guy to be all of a sudden, like Pete Gronk on this Giants team? It just makes no sense to me. But let's start with this week. Actually, some pretty damn interesting games. Let's start with Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Indianapolis Colts at Baltimore Ravens. Anthony Richardson got knocked out of the game last game. Gardner Minshew came in. They still won in kind of blowout fashion, but it looks like Anthony Richardson will be in this game, Casino. So who you got, Indianapolis Colts or the Baltimore Ravens?
It's going to shock you. I actually have the Indianapolis Colts.
Ooh.
So I know the Ravens are – I like the Ravens this year, but they've had now some substantial injuries going onto their offense. I mean, yes, I know that you still have I know that you still have Lamar Jackson, and he's not playing awful. He's playing actually fairly all right. But losing Hall, losing OBJ for this game, and then they lost Robinson. It was Robinson, right? That was their lead back. I'm blanking.
Yeah. As of 35 minutes ago, Anthony Richardson and Bryce Young both ruled out for this weekend's games. So it will be Gardner Minshew for this Colts team.
That's fine. I'm fine with Minshew, but lose, like I said. Oh, dang it.
Why Casino yells at his dog to stop barking on the podcast. I will say, for going into week 3, last week, Casino won with 9 picks. I had 8 picks. However, my wife did have 10 picks, so she beat us both. Week 1, I won with 9 picks correct. Casino won or lost with 8. So we have switched back and forth for the past 2 weeks. We are now tied. We are both tied 17-17 going into week 3 in terms of picks. So we're dead even, Casino.
We're 50% here. 50%.
Hey, I mean, we predict half the games right. That's pretty good.
Wait, it's just above 50%, right? Yeah.
No, we're 17-17.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot because we had the Thursday night one last night. So yeah, we're doing pretty good.
Speaking of, now we're 18-17. So we are 1 up, which is pretty good.
But yeah, so back to what I was saying is, sorry, the dog was barking at the Amazon guy that was dropping stuff off. But yeah, with Justice Hill out, OBJ out, I really have trouble seeing the offense of the Ravens doing what they need to do to beat the Colts. Because, I mean, the Colts have kind of surprising. They're playing hard. So I do think that the Colts are going to take this game, even with Minshew in.
I am going with the Baltimore Ravens on mine.
That's totally fine.
I don't think their defense has been anything to write home about. However, I do like how their Lamar Jackson has come back with a vengeance. Last game he had was great.
Yeah.
And even then, their defense doesn't look that good. It's still ranked 7th in the league right now, and they have the 6th best rushing attack in the league. So I don't know. I like this Colts team. I think if I maybe had to redo my picks right now and Anthony Richardson comes back, I think I would pick them as my last wildcard team over what we've seen from the Steelers. I like what I've seen more from the Colts than the Steelers. But yeah, I'm going with the Ravens on my end, and my phone is freezing right now. There we go. Next up, Tennessee Titans at the Cleveland Browns. Both teams are up 1-1. Obviously, we just talked about Chubb not being on this team. They re-signed Kareem Hunt. Titans still going with Tannehill and Derrick Henry. Who you got in this one, Casino?
Well, I'm worried about the Browns without Chubb. I'm going to go Tennessee Titans on this one. I liked how they played last game. They looked good beating the Chargers, so I'm going Titans. Plus, I'm also, a big fan of Mike Vrabel, so let's go Titans. I think they're going to do much better than we were giving them credit for. We didn't say that they're going to be bad this year, but Well, I think I did, but they're and I do like the Browns a lot, but I think having your number one piece in offense out is going to hurt them and basically change their entire playbook. I don't care that Ford is in and they picked up Kareem Hunt, who has already worked under this coach before, so he's pretty familiar, with everything going down. They did say that Ford is still going to be their number one back, and Kareem Hunt is going to be the backup to him. But I just don't think, I just know that those two quarterback or running backs, they don't have the same strength and firepower that Chubb has, and I think it's going to hurt them tremendously down the line. I think they're going to have to dumb down their playbook for running backs, and that's going to hurt them against teams. So I'm taking the Titans.
Well, they should dumb down their passing offense so Deshaun Watson doesn't look like absolute garbage in every game he plays in, which is good because this is karma and this is what he deserves. But the Browns right now on offense, they're 8th in the league, running the second best rushing attack. Obviously, that's going to change when they get Chubb out, but maybe Ford and Hunt can replicate some of that success. They're 26th in the league in passing. Deshaun Watson just looks shot. He looks done. However, they're second in the league in defense. And despite all those good stats, I still think I'm picking the Titans. And I am picking the Titans because, much like you said, I like how they played against the Chargers. I think the Chargers are a better team than this Browns team, even though the Browns obviously have a better defense. But I just trust Mike Vrabel to, beat a Browns team where they clearly now are kind of researching for what their identity is because they can't rely on the pass. So, right. I'm picking Mike Vrabel and the Titans.
And Vrabel, he's just a security blanket. If he was my coach, I would just feel good to play for him. To be like, okay, we're always going to be okay. I think we're always going to be okay.
Yeah. No.
We might lose, but we're going to be okay.
I think he is one of my top 5 favorite coaches in the league. He just is
hands down.
He's just a good coach. Next up, dare I say sneaky good game, Casino. The 2-0 Atlanta Falcons at the 1-1 Detroit Lions. I'll go first on this one, Casino. I want to go with the Falcons. Desmond Ridder actually looks better than I thought he would, and they're still 28th in the league in passing. But the Lions, on the other hand, 4th in the league in total offense, 20th in total defense. But I just really like how Jared Goff is playing right now. I think the Lions defense, remember last year they were 31st, so they're already up to 20th right now, and they've played the Chiefs and the Seahawks, 2 of the top 3 offenses last year, and they didn't hold the Seahawks in check. They did hold the Chiefs in check, and I just trust this Lions team. I'm picking the Lions.
I'm picking the Lions too. Yes, they got beat by the Seahawks, but I watched that whole game, Geno Smith was lights out. He was 32 for 41, over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he was spreading the ball around. He was hitting all of his top targets, just hitting them, just back and forth. I have no other words to explain it. He played extremely well, much better than he did in week 1. Geno Smith was absolutely outrageous. So I do like the Lions, though, in this game. No hate against the Falcons. I'm hoping, actually, their running back, Algier, or however you say his name, goes off because I put him in. I need him I need to have him have a good game because Chubb's out. I need to have him have a good rest of his season because Chubb's out. But Tyler Algier, I need him to go off, but we'll see. I hope he scores 3 touchdowns, but yet Jared Goff just lights it up in the sky. He's great. He's phenomenal. And you know what's really funny? I was thinking about this the other day. You know how with the trade with Stafford and Goff, Stafford really needed to get out of Detroit. Really need to get out of Detroit because I think he was just tired of that place. And going to the Rams, winning the Super Bowl, getting new life. They put people around him. He loved it. But I think Goff was like, all right, the spotlight's off me. I'm going to Detroit. All I can do is be better than what they've had. So
And
he went in and he's played really well.
Well, did you see that crazy stat that he was like a couple snaps away, or I think it was a couple snaps away or a couple games away from breaking Tom Brady's streak of most pass attempts without an interception?
Actually, so it's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has it. Aaron Rodgers has I think it's 403. I saw this stat as well. I think it's 403 consecutive passes without an interception was Rodgers. I think Tom Brady came within 3 passes. And then he was maybe, I think, 20 passes from completing that, and then he threw the interception. So he's now third all time with the longest streak without throwing an interception behind Rodgers and Brady. No matter how much I hate Rodgers, he's still a great quarterback. He just cares about MVPs instead of Super Bowls. But to be behind those 2 guys for that stat, that's protection. That's good. That means you're a decent quarterback.
Well, also, it's this thing of the Lions have Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then they have a decent running back, and they traded their tight end away. So it's everybody always does this with other teams where they're like, this quarterback isn't good because he has no weapons. Literally, Jared Goff has 1 weapon, and he's a top 5 quarterback in the league in every quarterback stat, and people are still act like he's just oh yeah, it's Jared Goff, whatever. And then it's what? Why are you taking away credit from him? What does he have around him that is just
right?
Anybody could be doing what he's
outside
doing.
Of St. Brown's, you have Josh Reynolds, you have San Laporta, Caleb Raymond, Jamari Gibbs.
Who are any of these people?
Yeah.
I mean, Jamar Gibbs was a rookie. Last year they had the other running back who was just had a shitload of touchdowns, all just because they were at the goal line. But it's also just they let go of him and brought in a rookie. So it's just why can we not just be maybe Goff is the one making all these guys look good, and then nobody gives him credit ever, and it's just I don't understand.
We're gonna give him credit here.
Yeah.
So dude, we're both going with Lions. We need to pick up the pace a little bit though. Get you under here.
I will say Ravens, I don't know, or I'm sorry, not Ravens, Falcons. I don't know how they're doing this. They have the 3rd ranked defense in the league right now. They have the 4th best rushing attack. Their passing is 28th in the league, but I think I said this on last episode, they're kind of what the Browns are, which is you can't really rely on their quarterback. They have a pretty good defense and a great rushing attack. So they're literally just playing good defense, controlling the clock, and that's going to win you games, which it has been. I don't know how real they are, but they look pretty damn good. I like watching them like that. Yep. They're fun to watch, especially in that Packers game. Speaking of the Packers, Casino, it is the 2-0 New Orleans Saints playing the 1-1 Green Bay Packers. You go first. I don't know who I'm picking on this.
No, I'm all good with this. I'm going Packers. Jordan Love. I like him so much. He's playing so good, coming in and filling in the shoes for Rodgers. Derek Carr, I've lost a lot of love for him. I do have him as one of my quarterbacks. However, I did pick up Baker Mayfield, and I am starting him over Carr this week. Yeah. I know they're going against your Eagles. I know and that's going to be tough for Baker. Too.
Yeah,
but it's going to be tough for Baker to do. But I'm starting him over Carr because Carr hasn't shown me really anything. I'm not enjoying what he's doing with the Saints. So with this, I am going Packers all day. Jordan Love at home. I think they actually stomp him pretty good. I'll be honest.
Real? Oh, is this your pick for blowout of the week?
No, this is not my pick for blowout of the week, but I do think they stomp him pretty good.
Oh, okay. So I agree with you that there's just something. Now, see, we say this. It looks like something's off when Derek Carr plays with the Saints. It doesn't look like he has the same pop or zip when he plays against the or when he used to play with the Raiders. I like his connection to Olave, I think. And then there's the other guy, the Shaheed. I think they have some pretty decent weapons. And then obviously you have Taysom Hill and the running back from the Lions we were just talking about. But when this team gets back Kamara, I think they're going to be much deadlier than they are now. And they're still a 2-0 team.
Yeah.
But
because it's important to have a good running back when apparently running backs don't exist in this league anymore.
yeah, exactly.
Fuck off.
All the good teams right now have like a legit run offense, but they're still 10th passing in the league. But again, I always hate how they rank passing and stuff like this because it's just by yards. It's not by like how efficient the passing game is or how good the passing game looks, because
they have to pass the eye test for me.
Yeah, Carr's thrown a lot of yards, like not that many touchdowns, not that many or I think he's thrown one touchdown, like 2 interceptions. And there's
a lot of his throws are very nerve-wracking. Like they just don't look clean. He doesn't look like he's protecting the football. He looks flat, and he looks flat behind that offense.
Yeah, I do think the Saints defense is legit. I think surprisingly, all the NFC teams without the Panthers, I'm saying the Buccaneers, the Saints, and the Falcons, all their defenses look pretty legit. And I don't think I can name 10 guys on any of those offense or defenses combined, but I'm picking the Saints to go 3-0. I just think Green Bay's defense hasn't looked as great as I thought they would have, especially against the Falcons last week. I was like, how are they losing this game?
I just don't trust Goff. I just can't. Or not Goff.
Carr.
Carr. Just don't trust him.
Yeah. I do like what I've seen from Jordan Love. I do agree with you there, but the Packers defense is the reason why I'm picking the Saints in this game. I just think they will control the clock and win that game. Let's go on to the next one. The 0-2 Houston Texans at the 1-1 Jacksonville Jaguars. Thoughts on this game, Casino? Because this looks like a game I will watch probably none of, because I think the Jaguars
need this game. Trevor Lawrence needs this game.
Yes.
No, take that back. Jaguars need this game. Trevor Lawrence is going to be fine. Trevor Lawrence he's still, in my opinion, a top tier quarterback. He just needs put him on 10, any of the top 10 teams in the league, and they could win the Super Bowl. Like,
I agree with you. Yeah.
So I'm going to go Jags just simply because they have Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I do like from what CJ Stroud has shown. I think it's a toss-up right now between him and Anthony Richardson as who is the better quarterback right now coming out of this class. I think they both have looked way better than Bryce Young, and it's not like the Texans have all this. I think the Colts got lucky they got a great offensive head coach, and he had last year with Hurts. Now he has Richardson, and it looks like he kind of just transitioned that offense to two very similar players. Now with the Texans, I don't think they have any weapons, especially like Panthers and them, I think are neutral when it comes to what talent they have on offense. And CJ Stroud just looks infinitely better than Bryce Young. He looks like an NFL quarterback, and Bryce Young doesn't. But the Texans right now, they're 6th in the league in passing. They have no rushing attack whatsoever, which is great because I have Dameon Pierce on my money league fantasy football team.
I would never have touched him.
Shit.
Touched him.
Well, everybody kept letting him go, and then I was the last pick in the round, and it just got to the point where it was like he was ranked 10th ahead of the next guy, and I was just like, okay.
Who was the next guy? I want to see how bad you fucked up. To be honest,
I do not remember, but it was some guy where I was like, he's going to be better than him, and so far, he probably has not been. But all that being said, I'm still taking the Jaguars. I didn't like at all what I saw. I watched that whole Chiefs-Jags game, and I didn't like anything I saw from the Jaguars. Their defense was but their offense, which I thought would be electric, especially with Calvin Ridley, just looked anemic. But I'm with you. I think Trevor Lawrence especially needs this game as a bounce back game to kind of assert himself back in what we thought would be the MVP conversation. So I'm picking Jaguars as well. let's move on to the next game on the docket, which is the Denver Broncos at the Miami Dolphins. 0-2 Denver, 2-0 Miami. This is my pick for blowout of the week. I think the Dolphins murder the Broncos. You're on mute, Casino.
Yep. Sorry, I was talking to the wife about the new baby. So you said we're on the which game?
Dolphins. The Dolphins and Broncos. I said Dolphins absolutely murder them. Blowout of the week. This is my pick.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. That's not my blowout of the week, but I am gonna say Dolphins as well. Hill's been killing it for me. He's been winning me games. So I've had somebody try. I've had 2 different trades on Casino's Fantasy Corner trying to get me to get rid of Hill, and like they're giving me there's a few where I'm like, I get rid of Hill, but I get security blankets for every position, like good steady middle of the road. But I'm like, no, I'm just gonna try to figure this out. But everybody's been giving me like decent trade looks. Like I've cross-referenced them with my brother, who's really good at fantasy football. He's in like 5 leagues and he wins like 3 of them every year. And I cross-referenced with that. And he's like, I don't know. That's a tough call. And I'm like, all right. But I've stuck with Hill. I like him. I do think this is going to be a pretty bad beatdown. But I don't think it's going to be my blowout of the week. But I'm calling Dolphins. You're right.
Yeah, I just think from what we've seen from Hill, I mean, he's on pace right now, and I think he could, God forbid an injury or something like happens to Tua or anything like that.
You just did it. You just did it.
No, I don't want that to happen. I think this.
I know,
Dolphins
but you just
team,
called it out. You put it out in the ether. When this happens, they're gonna search down this podcast. I mean, it's not gonna be hard to find because we're the only one.
That's
but
true.
They're gonna find this, and you're gonna hear from Hill's lawyers. I guarantee it. It's gonna happen.
I'm more worried about Tua going down than I am Hill, but still, that's the worry. But I will say,
I mean, you know all about concussions now.
That's true. I did. I've been in. Oh, I haven't said this on this podcast.
No, because you forgot. You have short-term memory.
That's true. I have been in two fender benders, both from me being at a dead stop at lights within 6 days of each other. The second one, I went to a chiropractor because my neck and back are all fucked up from it. And he said that, oh yeah, after that happened, you had a mild concussion because you had all these memory loss issues. And I was like, oh, well, that would have been nice to know when I was doing that.
What's memory?
Yeah. I was like, who are you? Where am I? What's my name? And then I had to relearn all that. I
don't know anything, but I have watched this Only Sports podcast. Like that was easy to find.
Yeah. So now the only thing I know is my name, sports, and that we're the Only Sports podcast. And really, what else do I need to know? Right.
Exactly. I'm expecting next episode that you have your back brace and your head brace on that you're supposed to be wearing.
Yes, I am supposed to be wearing a neck brace and a back brace right now, but I didn't want to wear a neck brace on the show. And the back brace only feels good when I stand up. When I sit down, I'm like, what is the point of this? But the Dolphins, the number 2 offense in the league, I think the most shocking thing is they actually kind of have a rushing attack this year with, I can never say his fucking name. It's like Mozart or something. It's
Mozart?
Mostert. Mostert.
Munster? It's Munster, I believe.
I don't know. But Mostert actually looks pretty damn good, especially in their first 2 games. Hill is obviously on pace for a record-setting season by a wide receiver. And then Tua is like Jared Goff, where everybody is just like, oh yeah, I guess he's okay. And then you're just like, what more does he need to do to be like, we always talk about like top 5 guys, and it's just like right now I would put Goff and Tua in the top 5 over like a Burrow or a Lawrence, just in terms of what they've done this
year. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but we still have to, but everybody acts like, oh, well, the best quarterback in the league, like throwing the ball is Justin Herbert. And then it's just like, why? Like, okay, We've said that about Rodgers for 10 years. He has one Super Bowl. Why do I give a shit if you're the best like throwing quarterback? Can you win the games?
No,
That's what I
they
want.
all want to live up to the Rodgers expectations of just winning MVPs, bro.
Yeah, like I don't give a shit about those. I'd rather have the worst quarterback in the league who has 5 Super Bowls than have the best quarterback in the league who never gets past like the divisional round. Like,
So,
why do we do that? Like, I don't get why we do
so,
this.
so what you want? You want Super Bowl 50 Broncos, where you have a stellar defense and a quarterback who can't throw.
If it wins me the Super Bowl, I'd take that over an Aaron Rodgers 13-3 Packers team that loses in the divisional round every year.
Yeah.
I'd take that 100 out of 100 times. But then you can just
I
be
still
like,
watch
oh, we
that
have
Super
the
Bowl,
best
by the way.
quarterback.
I've rewatched that Super Bowl, probably maybe no joke. I like rewatching games, especially Patriot games, but I did rewatch about 8 months ago. I rewatched that Broncos Broncos Panthers Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And man, Von Miller, like that was probably one of the best defensive performances by a single player in just NFL history was that game. Absolutely outstanding.
Well, it's also crazy that the
dude literally ripped the ball out of a guy's hand and walked it into the end zone.
Yeah. Well, also the one fumble where Cam Newton didn't dive for the fumble,
right?
That kind of ended his NFL career. He was never the same after that. Everybody points
that's why
to
when
that
the Patriots picked him up, I was like, oh no, we got pussyfoot pussyfoot Cam Newton here. And dude,
he was 15-1 that season.
Quick side rant. If they used him the way that they were supposed to use him, the Patriots, he'd have been great. He's a running quarterback. Don't let him throw the ball. His arm was done. He can't throw the ball. Run the ball. You sign him for a 1-year contract. You don't have him long term. I know this is shitty to say, but if he gets injured, okay. He gets injured. Run him. They never ran him. We lost. We suck. Anyway.
Speaking of
I'm not salty.
Yeah. Speaking of sucks, it is a
whoa. I don't need to know your personal life here.
I'm wearing a neck brace for other reasons as well. Next up, 2 teams that suck and nobody can explain why they suck. It is the 0-2 Los Angeles Chargers at the 0-2 Minnesota Vikings. Maybe one of the most intriguing games between 2 teams that haven't won a game all season. Both these teams, though, the Chargers right now have the 31st ranked defense. The Vikings have the 32nd ranked rushing attack. They traded for Cam Akers from the Rams, which I didn't like Cam Akers on the Rams, so I don't know what he's going to do on this Vikings team. I like what I've seen from the Vikings. I don't like anything I've seen from the Chargers. I'm picking Vikings in this game, Casino. Who are you picking?
That's totally fair, but I'm going to give the Chargers, who I thought was going to be a wild card team, one more shot to get their heads out their asses. So like one shot, one opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it there so we don't get copyrighted.
Mom spaghetti.
That does sound good. Now I'm hungry. Lunch sounds good. But I am going to go Chargers. They have one more chance to show me that, I'm not an idiot, but I'm probably an idiot. But you know what? I'm blaming all my losses. Like in my mind, I've won every game, but I'm blaming it all on having my son and being sleep deprived and all the things.
Yeah.
Yep. You don't have an excuse. I mean, well, I guess you do now. Damn it. Why do you always have to one-up me? Like,
yeah.
I had an excuse for at least what I was going to say, and I'm going to say it. I had an excuse for why my picks have been so bad, and I was going to say, you don't have an excuse, but now you do have an excuse. You do have an excuse.
Yay, head trauma.
Yeah. Yay, head trauma. You have an excuse now. Well, you've been doing it all year this year. Like, you've been one-upping me on everything, dude. How that time that I won, I hit the royal flush, right? Hit the royal flush at the bar, and I was like, yeah, I won like $1,200. This is awesome. And then a week later, you're like, hey, I hit on Caveman Keno. I won $5,000. I'm like, go fuck yourself.
And I'm announcing it here. I'm actually having 2 babies at the moment. Twins. So sorry to one up you again, but it's just that's how life is. But speaking of the Chargers, so obviously they lost last week in OT to the Titans. That game was brutal to watch. They lost week 1 in a shootout to the Dolphins, but both those games just dumb coaching decisions, dumb fourth quarter just like plays and execution, and I don't trust the Chargers team at all. Both these teams last year kind of got lucky, especially the Vikings we talked about on one score.
Right, but okay, but you did just say the Vikings have the 32nd worst run defense, correct?
No, run offense.
Oh,
Offense.
got it.
And so Cam Akers, I don't think Cam Akers is going to come in and do anything. I don't know why they would make that trade, but that clearly shows they saw that they had a problem, tried to fix the problem, and who knows, maybe they have, because if they at least get up to the 20th ranked offense in terms of rushing, at least they'll have a more balanced attack than just let me throw the ball at Hawkinson and Justin Jefferson 30 times this game. Yeah. I don't know. I really do not know why the Lions traded him away.
I have no idea.
If he was on this Lions team right now, their offense would be even better than it is now.
My Super Bowl pick would have been justified.
I mean, it still is.
That offense is so good. Yeah, but anyway.
Now, next up, the 0-2 New England Patriots at the 1-1 Zach Wilson-led New York Jets.
Oh, man.
This is going to be
barn burner.
This is a gross game.
So I'm just going to go first. I've been going back and forth on this, on who my pick is going to be, mainly because with Casino's Fantasy Corner, I do have the Bills defense and I have the Patriots defense. And I like how the Commanders have been playing. But typically the Patriots defense absolutely wrecks this Jets defense. But again, as I said, keeping up with the Joneses. I've been watching every episode of Keeping Up with the Joneses. And the entire Patriots, like absolute studs when it comes to interceptions and basically that own this Jets team, are all injured. With that being said, I'm still going Patriots because Bill Belichick is just so good against this team. I know the Jets are so much better than they have been, but I think that he knows how to go after Zach Wilson, regardless who's playing the position. That I do think the Patriots are going to pull this one off, finally get a W, but I think it's going to be tough to watch this game, but I think Bill's going to do enough to disrupt Zach Wilson to maybe have the Patriots offense do something. But I'm going Patriots in this one just because Belichick against the Jets, against Zach Wilson, is outstanding. So,
yeah. I think this is this team, when it comes to the Jets, is kind of ironically in the same boat as the Packers is for me, which is obviously their offense. The Packers offense is much better, but I thought this Jets defense would be much better just based off what we saw last year. And they've that first game against the Bills really feels like an anomaly, and just because of the atmosphere and like how that game, started and the emotion and blah, 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 blah. So the next game, we see the Jets against the Cowboys, kind of just an ugly game, but the offense you expect to be ugly. The defense, however, you expect to step up and be like, kind of like we were talking about with that Broncos team, where it's like elite defense kind of carry the offense with you. And they've kind of shrunken when they should be rising to the occasion. They're only ranked right now. They're 19th in the league in total defense, obviously 31st in passing because you have that motherfucker as the quarterback. But
God, I love him though.
I hate watching him play quarterback. And I think Bill Belichick, I don't care if he's 0-2. I don't care if he's 0-16. There's no money on the planet, no odds on the planet you can give me where it'll be like Zach Wilson versus Bill Belichick defense and Zach Wilson wins. It's not happening.
Regardless who's on defense, like just regardless who's on defense.
Bill Belichick could be coaching my son and other 12-year-olds to play defense against Zach Wilson, and I'm still not putting money on Zach Wilson to beat a Bill Belichick defense. So I'm going with the Patriots, but I think this game is going to be ugly, 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 like 14-10, or like 10-7, right? Like 10-3. I just think it's going to be brutal, brutal, but I'm still picking the Patriots. Next up, dare I say, sneaky good game, Casino. Sneaky good game. The 1-1 Buffalo Bills at the 2-0 Washington Commanders.
This is going to be a good one.
I feel like this is going to be a pretty damn good game.
This is one of my favorite games of the week.
Yeah, and who would have thought? Like week 3 Bills Commanders would be a barn burner, and the Commanders would be 2-0 where the Bills had a worse record. But
give this a quick talk over. I've got to go check on my son who's a little whining, but go for it. But I got stuff I want to say on this one too. So go.
You got it. So the Buffalo Bills, we obviously saw them week 1 against that weird Jets team we talked about. They got redemption last week against the Raiders, completely just decimated that Raiders team, which I don't think is a bad Raiders team. So the fact that they did that in the way they did that is even more impressive to me. The Bills right now, 6th in offense, 5th in defense, exactly kind of why I was trying to make the case at the beginning of the season, like why I wasn't going to pick the Bills. And then I just looked at all their stats, all their playmakers, all their offense and defensive personnel. And it was just like, this can't be a bad team. So I do think week 1 will be the week 1 game we kind of look back on and be like, remember that? That was weird that like Josh Allen had that bad of a game. But then we go to the flip side of the Commanders, and we've seen Patrick Mahomes not look like Patrick Mahomes this season. However, we've seen Eric Bieniemy transform Sam Howell into a pretty damn good quarterback. So
that's where I wanted to talk about.
So maybe, I know this is blasphemy, but maybe the key to having a really good offense is having a really good offensive coordinator. And they're kind of similar in terms of, would you rather have a really good quarterback or a really good like scheme and coordinator? Like it's kind of 50-50 because everybody always says Josh Allen at his best years when he had Brian Daboll, right? Jalen Hurts had an MVP season last year when he had Strickland, who is now on the Colts just doing the same thing with, I think, less, talent on that roster. So my pick for this one, Casino, I still am going the Bills, but I really do feel like this is going to be like a pretty damn good game. Your thoughts?
I'm going Bills because yes, the Jets beat the Bills in week 1, but as you said, and you alluded to that, it was the moment was just so right for the Jets to win that game with Rodgers going out, Battle of New York. It just felt like the Jets were going to win that game. Yeah. I mean, it didn't, but then it did. Like real fast. And then, then the next week, Bills absolutely blow out the Raiders. And the Commanders, they haven't played. They played Arizona, and they played Arizona, and then they played Broncos. So, and he looked, and you're right, as you're talking about it, he looked so good. I'm talking about Howell. Sam Howell looked so good against the Broncos. He had 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. I do think that he is much better than we thought he was going to be. I mean, we thought the Commanders were going to be pretty good. I do remember us saying that.
Yeah,
but it was all going to be
going to the playoffs.
Yeah, but it was going to be how Sam Howell played and how he could do. And so far, he's looked really, really good. However, I am going to go Bills just because I think week 1 was an anomaly. They absolutely blew out the Raiders. Which isn't saying much because there's still a big question mark for me, but the Bills have to be better than what they showed at the first game. So I'm going to ride with the Bills, but I think the Commanders are going to make this a good game. And I would say Sam Howell still has a really good game in this. So, and now I'm talking myself into, like I said, I have the Bills defense, but I think Sam Howell's going to play well. I'm going to put the Patriots back in. I'm going to put the Patriots defense back in. Just have to. But I just have to. Belichick against Wilson. It's just, yep. I'm doing it now. Actually, I'm doing it now.
Oh shit! Live on the air.
Live on the air.
I will say there is a chance that Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook just cook you guys for like 200 yards, and Zach Wilson throws for like 113 yards, and then I'm like, okay, I can see that. But if Zach Wilson, they're having him throw
games, the Patriots' run defense hasn't been bad. It's they play the way that the Bill Belichick plays, where it's bend don't break. However, that is not working when you don't have an offense. You know.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Yep, I'm doing it now. I'm doing it now.
So we're both picking the Bills.
We'll fuck it. We'll do it live.
But I'll tell you what, Bills,
Done.
Bills, Commanders,
It's
Chargers, Vikings, and then Falcons, Lions, all at 10 a.m. Those are gonna, and also Colts, Ravens. Like those are 4 games in the morning. That I'm just like, I want to watch all those.
Well, now you can.
Yeah, and now I'll put Red Zone on my phone, and then I'll put those 4 games in the screens.
Dude, we're not getting paid by YouTube to say this, but I'm going to say this. I love the YouTube streaming for football, the Sunday Ticket. They give you literally like 30 options because they give you, if you want to watch just these 3 games or these 4 games, and they put different games up there with Red Zone, and it is
something that
really nice.
DirecTV could never fucking do. Like DirecTV would literally just be like, we're going to just put these random 4 games up here, and then we're going to give you another option where there's the other 4 games. And then it's just like, okay, but what if I want to watch these 2 and those 2? And then they'd be like, well, you're shit out of luck because for whatever reason, we're only doing these 2 options. And it was just like, you can't do where every combination of game is on the screen for what reason? And then YouTube came in and they were like, not only can we do 4 games, but we can also do 3 games, and then you also get Red Zone. Dude. So now it's like, it's game changing. I think it's great.
I love it. I was glued to the TV the first 2 weeks. Anyway, so that's a shout out to them.
Yeah, but, I completely agree.
I'm going Bills.
Yeah.
Call it there.
Let's move to now the morning games to the afternoon games, a much less interesting slate. We start with the Bryce Young-less 0-2 Carolina Panthers facing the 1-1 Seattle Seahawks. I think, is this your pick for blowout of the week? Because this might be my blowout of the week.
This is my pick for blowout of the week.
Yeah. Seahawks. I just don't like what I've seen from the Panthers. Even with Bryce Young in, they were 32nd in the league in passing. So they're the worst passing offense. Again, I don't know who he is supposed to throw to. They have nobody. I don't like that offensive line. I don't like their running backs. Their defense is 8th in the league. And when I watch the Panthers play, I am like, I can't name anybody on this defense, but their defense is pretty damn good.
No, I do think Geno Smith is gonna cook him. I think he's gonna absolutely go after him.
Yeah, I do like what I've seen from Geno Smith too. I think he's that first game also might have been an anomaly because the Rams might be good. So
yeah, exactly. I was literally about to say that. I was like, Geno Smith wasn't bad, but he just didn't have a lot going. I mean, he was 16 for 26 that game, 112 yards, 1 TD, but still, like, I think Geno Smith is going to absolutely roll this Panthers team.
Yeah, so the Panthers, their number 1 wide receiver is Adam Thielen. He looked cooked 2 years ago.
I was going to say, and Adam Thielen, nobody in my league, it's a 12-man league, with an OP and a flex option, Adam Thielen is not picked up by anybody.
Yeah, which is shocking.
I had Jonathan Mingo picked up, and I dropped him finally. But I was going to say, if Bryce Young was going to throw it to anybody who was going to make an impact, was going to be Jonathan Mingo. as a rookie coming in and be like, oh, he's a star, which I think he's a good player, but not on this team.
Yeah, I agree. And then their running backs, they got Miles Sanders, who I think is fine, but I also think that a lot of his success in Philadelphia is because of the
Oh,
Philadelphia offensive line.
offensive
Because I mean,
line.
we
And
just saw
he was
DeAndre
part of a
Swift.
three-headed monster. So
Yeah. But I like Hubbard, their backup running back. I like Sanders. I'm not saying I don't like Sanders, but I'm saying I don't think this Panthers offensive line is going to be of any help to either Bryce Young or that rushing attack. The Seahawks, on the other hand, we just saw them beat the Lions, who we both think are a playoff caliber team. So, yeah, I just think I agree with
in
you.
an OT shootout, like, and
Yeah.
what Geno Smith did in that OT, he didn't let the Lions get the ball back. He just went down. He was
Yeah.
just like, oh, I can win the game right now. I'm gonna go do that.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next game. I mean, this one also, we have 3 contenders for blowout of the week. The 2-0 Dallas Cowboys going to the 0-2 Arizona Cardinals. The Cowboys right now have the number 1 defense in the league, the 9th rushing attack in the league, 21st in the league in passing, because Dak has basically not had to do anything in 2 blowouts against 2 bad teams. So, this is going to be this feels like it's going to be 49ers and Giants level, where it's just like everybody knows it's going to be a blowout. It's going to be a blowout. Like,
Yeah.
why are we
And
playing
did
this
you
game?
know that the Cowboys, they're gonna go to the Super Bowl?
I mean, but this will be the spot to talk about it. Diggs tore his ACL in practice casino. Even as a Cowboys hater, obviously I've said this a million times. I never want to see a player get injured.
Right.
I
Same with me with
always,
Rodgers. Like, as soon as
yeah,
he went down and I heard that it was a Achilles tear, I was just like, ugh,
yeah, because then it doesn't feel good. I want the
no.
Eagles to beat the
I wanted,
Cowboys
yep,
when they're at full strength.
yeah,
That's
and
what I
I
want.
wanted Rodgers. Well, you want that because you don't want the Cowboys to be smack talking when they lose. But I
Yes.
wanted Rodgers, and I wanted Rodgers just to lose because I wanted Rodgers to lose.
Yeah,
I wanted him just to
exactly.
play bad.
Yeah.
My kid is fussing again, so I'm going Cowboys. Which one's the next game? And I'll just tell you my pick real quick.
Let's see. So yeah, there's nothing to really talk about in this game. It's going to be a blowout. Next up is Bears at Chiefs.
Chiefs, and I'll let you continue.
So next one also, this one should be blowout of the week, but again, that Chiefs offense now hopefully a game after getting Travis Kelce back, it will we'll see the Chiefs of old. I mean, they still have Andy Reid, so we can't give Eric Bieniemy all the credit because obviously we've talked about on this podcast. Andy Reid, probably the most gifted offensive coach, maybe in NFL history, right? With his schemes and how he is able to tailor offenses around what he has. And what he has right now is Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Maybe potentially when it's all said and done, the greatest quarterback ever. Maybe when it's potentially said and done, the greatest tight end ever. The Bears, however, on the other side, you have Justin Fields.
You're still on this? I thought you were just gonna make your pick.
No, I was vamping.
Oh.
But you have Justin Fields telling reporters that maybe it's coaching that is why they're bad. They're
And
making him think too much.
you know how I've been trying to be on the Justin Fields like
Dude, you and me
train
both.
of like I want him to be good. I like him. As soon as that interview came out, I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. We got Kyler Murray all over again. Like,
well, when you listen, and people were like, you got to listen to the whole context of it. You got to listen to the whole context of it. And the whole context of it was like, my coaches don't know how to use me and they're bad, which is why we're bad because I just want to play my game. And you're kind of just like, weren't you playing your game last year and you guys still won 3 games? Like, it just feels like there's also,
I've lost him.
There's clips of last week where there's wide open receivers standing in the end zone or streaking up the field, basically being like, how the fuck do you not see me? And Justin Fields looking straight at him. And then he just like runs straight into the line or like throws an interception or incompletion. And it's kind of just like, I can defend you to a certain point, but when you have quarterback protected, guy wide open, you're looking right at him and you decide to tuck the ball and run, it's one of those situations where it's just like, what's the defense of that? I don't get like why he wouldn't attempt that throw. Who cares? You're 0-2. But I was saying this should be a blowout of the week, but I don't know. The Chiefs just have not looked like they have all their ducks in a row, especially when you always see those stats where it's like Andy Reid in September is like undefeated and they always like outscore their opponents like 1,000,000-0. And then they're kind of just, I didn't like at all what I saw from the Chiefs against that Jags team. Do you think this game will be a blowout, or do you just think it'll be like a Chiefs win, but not as impressive as it should be?
Not as impressive as it should be. I think that's what it's going to be. But this may be their turning point, but I agree with you. Something's just been off about them the first two games.
Yeah.
That, I mean, even with the loss to the Lions, like the Lions are a good offense. And then, I like the Jaguars more than you do, but you still didn't play all that great. I watched a lot of that game and I was still just like, something's off. So they could potentially, like, this could be where they get all their ducks in the row, as you're saying, but I'm not there to say that yet. So I think it's not going to be a blowout. They'll win handfully, by probably 2 scores, but I don't think it's going to be, a 40-0 blowout.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is much like we've talked about with the Jaguars earlier. This is the make right game, right? Like this is the it's been kind of choppy, but you were going against an opponent that is 27th in the league in offense, 27th in defense in the league. It's clearly, I think at this point, the worst team in the league. So you're defending Super Bowl champions. You're still the 10th offense in the league, 12th defense in the league. You should dominate these guys on both sides of the ball. So we'll see. But again, this Chiefs team, even when they're super talented, they lost to that Colts team last year. And it was just like, nobody saw that coming. So if Bears beat this Chiefs team, especially after the week the Bears have had, like with defensive coordinators getting fired for weird shit that I'm sure will come out by next podcast where we'll be like, holy shit. Like, yeah. So this should be a blowout, but I'm with you. I don't know if it should be. Weird Sunday night game this week. Steelers at Raiders. Not feel like a Sunday night game. This sounds like a terrible, terrible game. 1-1 Pittsburgh Steelers at the 1-1 Las Vegas Raiders. Even after the Steelers won last week, Casino, this is officially me revoking my Steelers bandwagon pick. I'm off the Steelers. I don't think they're making the playoffs. I'm just out. I'm off the bandwagon.
That's fine. Okay. That's fine. But I will jump in here. I do think the Steelers win this game.
Ooh. Okay.
I think the Raiders are just bad. The Raiders are bad. Yes, they got blown out by Buffalo and they barely beat the Broncos in week 1, but we've already established the Broncos are still not good. So yeah. I can't see the Steelers. I mean, and the Steelers played tough against the Browns. Yes, I thought the Browns could win that game if they had Chubb, but that's how football goes. And I do like Tomlin. I do like Tomlin more than I like Josh McDaniels. So that's where I'm at with that. I'm going to take the Steelers because I've been open about it. I don't think Josh McDaniels wasn't my favorite person on the Patriots either. I thought that offense was good because of Tom Brady, not because of Josh McDaniels. So I'm going Steelers on this one, but this is not me saying the Steelers are good. I just think the Raiders are this bad.
Yeah. I'm kind of right there with you where
Stop agreeing with me.
But I am picking the Raiders.
Okay.
I'm not picking the Steelers. Because from what we've seen from the Steelers, again, it falls into the Jets and Packers category, which is there are question marks about the offense, right? It was, can Kenny Pickett lead this offense? I had no question marks about the defense. I was like, this defense is going to be elite. It's going to be great. So far, 2 weeks into the season, they're 29th in the league in defense, and they've played, again, they got the short end of the stick and played what looks to be the best team in the 49ers week 1. But week 2, you get Deshaun Watson, no Nick Chubb, and still the Browns offense is like moving the ball up and down the field. And I don't know how they were doing it. And they might have done it because the Steelers defense is not good.
So
and
this
I
is just
don't
a
know how
battle
that
of
happens.
the battle of the shitty teams. Let's go.
Yeah. And I think the offense is the Steelers are 31st in the league. The Raiders are 30th. So this is going to be a brutal game to watch.
Dude,
this is going to be a rough Sunday night game. I can't believe this was not flexed. Maybe they can't flex it until a certain week into the season, but
right.
And then to make matters worse, so I'm picking the Raiders, you're picking the Steelers on that one. To make matters worse, why are we doing double header Monday night games that start within an hour of each other? Why are we doing this? Why aren't we doing what the NBA does, where it's you have an East Coast game followed by a West Coast game? Why are we starting them both at the same time? This makes no sense. It's stupid. The first one is my Philadelphia Eagles 2-0 at the shockingly 2-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I said it on last podcast when I was reviewing the games casino. I watched all of that Bucs Bears game. I really like this Buccaneers team. I really like their defense. I think Baker Mayfield is back. I like their weapons with Godwin and Mike Evans having a breakout game. I like this Buccaneers team. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I've no issues with that as well. I'm going Bucks.
Ooh.
I'm going Bucks because I know the Eagles should win this game. Like, I love the Eagles. The Eagles should win this game. They really should. But I'm going Bucks because I'm trying to put it.
You said you love the Eagles. I'm going to clip that and play that everywhere. Please go on. Time stamping where I can get you saying that, and please continue talking.
I don't know if I should, because I'm about to say it. I like Baker Mayfield. Timestamp that. But I need him to play well for me in fantasy because I'm already down 10 points. I played Kittle last night and he owned me. So I need a big game from my boy Baker. I haven't seen as many commercials, man. He's focused this year. I like it.
That's true. He was like, you know what? I'm going to only do 3 commercials this year instead of 57. And now all of a sudden, look, he's on a 2-0 team.
Yeah.
I do think, again, you can say this about every team, but
Eagles should win. I'm picking Bucks.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go to the next game real quick. And then because my son's getting up, I probably need to pacifier him and whatnot.
Yeah.
Brittany's taking a nap, which she deserves. I mean, definitely deserves.
Yeah.
She had a human cut out of her the other day. Bengals, Rams. I have to pick the Bengals because they're my Super Bowl pick and they have to show up. They just have to show up now. If they go 0-3, like I would say bench Burrow to let him heal for the rest of the year.
Yeah. This is going to be shocking to you. Before you get out of here, let me read you this.
Well, I'm coming right back, but
the Rams right now, 3rd in offense, 6th in defense, 4th in passing. The Bengals, 32nd in offense, 26th in defense, 30th in passing. You could have given me $1 million beforehand to bet on which of these two teams would have those stats going into week 3 of the season. I would have put it all on the Bengals. Like, I thought the Rams were going to be
he stopped fussing, so we're good. I'm going to stay.
But
yeah, I Bengals have to win this game, so I'm going with them. Would I be shocked if the Rams won this game because they're better than we thought they were going to be? For some reason, they're playing well. Maybe maybe Stafford finally took his kids to Disneyland. I'm talking about his younger teammates.
His teammates, yeah.
Took his kids to Disneyland, and they had a hoot. They rode the water ride together. They did all the things. He bought them ice cream. Maybe he connected with them, and because they're playing all right. I don't know. Something happened.
Splash Mountain is actually closed at the moment
Yeah.
because they're turning it into Princess and the Frog. So they,
You know what? And I'm really excited for that because I love Princess and the Frog. I think it's a stellar movie. Little look into Casino's life. I love jazz music. I love New Orleans. You've talked about New Orleans. You've talked about New Orleans being one of your favorite places you've ever been to.
Yeah.
Like, it's high up on my list. One of my, I would probably say top three. Top three things of all time on my what I need to do before I die is go to New Orleans, go to a jazz lounge, and listen to either jazz and blues till morning hits. Like I love it. So I'm really excited for that ride. I'm excited. That's going to be a fun ass ride. Plus beignets, can't go wrong. I'm sure they have plenty of beignets around there.
Yeah,
they're going to have a
You know what? I did not know any of the thing you just said. And this entire time I've been a friend with you for over a decade at this point.
You didn't know I like jazz?
No, I thought you were uncultured swine this entire time. And now I find out you're a classy gentleman. I should have known the day you showed up in a suit on this podcast. I should have known, but blown away still. Yeah. That was... that honestly took my breath away, Casino, what you just said right now.
Right.
Put that in the group chat. I guarantee you everyone will be as shocked as I am that you just said that. But as far as the 2 Monday night games, you're right in the sense that the Eagles should win this game, but the Buccaneers have looked better. I think they beat the Vikings in a 1-score game, which is kind of just what the Vikings are, right? A keep it close team that based on last year, they win at the end. Based on this year, they lose at the end. So I don't know how good the Vikings are. I just know this Bucs team beat them. Now, I do know from watching the Bucs last week that the Bears are really bad and they make their opponents look good, which is why I think the Chiefs will look pretty damn good this week against them. Now, that being said, how good is this Buccaneers team? I don't know because I don't trust the first 2 games. How good is this Eagles team? I don't know because I don't trust the first 2 games. I mean, that Patriots game was weird. That Vikings game last week, also weird. Kirk Cousins in prime time put up one of the best stat lines you're going to see. So I don't trust this Eagles defense at all. I think the Bucs offense is pretty legit. All this to say, I am picking the Eagles to win, and this is maybe the pick of the week I have the least confidence in. I just think no. I'm changing my pick, Casino. I gotta pick the Bucs to win. There's no reason why this Eagles team should win with what I've seen from them this season. And I just told you, I watched all that Bucs game last week, and I was like, this Bucs team is really fucking good. And I like how they play. I haven't liked what I've seen from the Eagles, unless, again, Hurts snaps back into what he was last year, or they just rush for 200 yards again against a Bucs defense right now that's 9th in the league. I'm picking the Buccaneers as well. I don't like it. This isn't me doing reverse jinx. I just think the Bucs have shown me more and looked better than this Eagles team. Yeah, so I'm picking the Buccaneers. However, on Monday night, I am picking the Rams. I just think when you look at what the Rams are this season, I just think they're infinitely better in every category than the Bengals. And we want the Bengals to be good, but clearly Joe Burrow's messed up. That defense is a shell of its former self. And then I don't know what they are at all. So for the Monday night games, I'm going Buccaneers and Rams. You're going Buccaneers and Bengals. I think one of these 2 games should have been the Sunday night game, right? Because then you could have either Eagles Bucks for Sunday night, and then Rams, Bengals, Steelers, Raiders. You could have done the West Coast, East Coast game, but what do I fucking know? All right, Casino. We have gone long. The only game.
No, we're
What?
talking some college. I'm making sure we talk some college.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wanted to talk college before we got out of here. The big game, obviously, this week, which I want to get your opinion on. Week 4 of college football is the noon game or 12:30 game tomorrow. Number 19 Colorado at number 10 Oregon. How good do you think this Colorado team is? Because right now, the line for this game, I believe the last time I checked it, it was 20 to going to Oregon. So the bettors think Oregon wins by 20. Your thoughts?
I would take Colorado to best that. I still think Oregon will win this. But yes, they almost lost to Colorado State. Colorado did, but that's an in-state rival. You know, Colorado State was just, they were fuming at the mouth to go upset. They were fuming at the mouth to go upset Colorado. Like they wanted it. So I'm not going to take anything from that game like too seriously. To me, it's like an in-division rival situation. They were wanting to win that game. And Oregon is very, very known for games that they're supposed to win and blow people out. They don't. You know, they have duds. So I think Colorado covers, but I could see Oregon winning this game because, yeah, that's where I'm at.
I'm right there with you. I think this will be a game. I think the college landscape, the college world, the media, if Colorado wins this game,
my
is going to be.
My son just had the biggest shit. He.
Will Colorado shit the bed or will Oregon shit the bed? We don't know, but we do know Casino's baby will shit the bed.
My son shits the bed.
However, I feel like this is perfect Oregon, what Oregon is, right? Where they blow out two teams, go into a big nationalized televised game, and then just lay a giant fucking egg.
Yeah.
Right? This is right up Oregon's lane.
We've seen it for years.
We've seen it for a decade at this point.
So that's exactly where I'm at. Like they're the Kirk Cousins of prime time.
Yeah. So would I be shocked if Colorado won? No. But if they do beat Oregon in Oregon, then I think it's finally time to be like, this Colorado team's legit and not
I think they're legit. I think they're legit. And again, everybody's talking about how they almost got beat by Colorado State, who's not a good team.
But that's my thing. I don't think Colorado State's good at all.
No, they're not good at all. But again, it happens where, you know, Colorado, they know they have to win that game. They have to win that game. Like, they've got tough games coming up. And if they lose, everybody's going to be like, okay, they played a really tough opponent. They had to win that game. So I think they were nervous. And then Colorado State was just hyped up of like, we're going to be the team to fuck up their season.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
that's where I was with
watching
that.
it.
That was a fun game.
Good game. Well, that game was one of the best, like amazing. That's not the only, finally, week 4 of college football, they actually decided to put good games on. Undefeated Rutgers going to number 2 Michigan. Do you think Michigan should be on upset alert after 3 weeks of, I don't think they look good. We talked about them against UNLV.
Speaking, and I want to talk about that game. I mean, that happened. So that's why I'm wearing the hat. I want to make sure we talk about that. But no, I think they can get beat by Rutgers.
I do too.
I think they should be I think this is like the Colorado State thing. You know, Rutgers has no business beating Michigan, but Michigan has to beat Rutgers. Like they just have to.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So I'm going to go and talk about now. I want to talk about the one game that basically a single incident that I wanted to talk about was the K-State game versus Missouri. I absolutely loved. I love how that game ended. That kid hit what was his name again? It was, I just had it. Mevis, however you say his name. Did you watch the highlights of that? Did you see him hit that 61-yard
I did.
footer to win
Yeah.
the game? Dude, that was absolutely insane. Right there, he signed, like, he guaranteed himself an NFL contract with that kick. Like,
Yeah.
guaranteed. Like, even if he's on a practice squad, he is 100% going to get picked up by an NFL team. 100%. If you hit a 61 footer in college, you're going to get picked up, even if it's at worst, just a practice squad signing, but you're still going to get somewhat paid. Like, you signed a check. You literally signed a check with that. And what a way to walk off. That's been amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree.
so,
Great moment too, especially when
oh,
those happen in college football games. It just
like,
hits different than when
it
it
does. Like,
happens in the
my
NFL.
heart, like, filled with joy and anxiety all at the same time. I loved it. Um,
Next game, or go ahead.
no joke, like, just talking about, like, those moments, I still look back at when Vanderbilt, and this is a good segue to the UNLV Vanderbilt game. But when Vanderbilt hit that 3-pointer, that buzzer beater 3-pointer to win the national championship game, like a decade ago,
Yeah,
do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Like, I loved every second because they were double teaming the guard who everybody thought was going to take the shot. And he just runs by and dishes it to a guy that he was like, okay, I know I'm the guy, but I'm going to give you the shot to win the national championship. And the dude drains a 3. Loved it. I still watch that probably once every 2 months because how it makes me feel. Like, you live for that moment. You live for that moment. Like, that
Yep.
kid grew up going buzzer beater, like, trash can, buzzer beater 3 to win the national championship. And he actually did it. So you're right. These moments are special. What were you going to say before I go over to UNLV Vanderbilt game?
Well, first I was gonna say nobody besides us gives a shit about UNLV Vanderbilt, so I'm gonna give you 10 seconds to make a case for why this will be a good game.
Oh, why
Or why it was a good game.
it was a good game?
Yes.
Simply a Mountain West team beat an SEC team. I don't care how you put it. I don't care how you put it.
True.
A Mountain West team beat a SEC team when they had no business to do it.
Yeah, 40-37. That's
Dude,
fucking crazy.
And what the best part about this is, though, is Doug Brumfield, who's supposed to be, he's so injury prone for UNLV. He got knocked out, and now I just want to give our Vegas local, like I do with Ramondre Stevenson for the Patriots, some absolute love. Jaden Maeva, or however you say his name, I forget how to say his name, but from Liberty High School, who was looked at from a lot of top colleges out there, but he decided to stay home and play for UNLV. He's a true freshman. He went 19 for 33, 261 yards, a touchdown, an interception, and he rushed for 29 yards. But I love seeing this true freshman come out and beat an SEC team. Yes, it's Vanderbilt, and they're not the best in the SEC. They're now 2-2. But that was a huge thing for the Rebels to beat that team. So shout out to, Jaden for some Vegas love. We got to talk about our hometown and when people do good stuff. So that was awesome.
That was a great game. I didn't watch it live. I watched the highlights after. That was a great game.
Great game. So I just wanted to touch on that it was big for a Mountain West team to beat an SEC team. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And shout out to a Vegas local.
I got like 4 minutes, so let's go through these quick. Casino. Just pick if any of these teams should be worried about an upset. Number 4, Florida State at Clemson.
No.
I don't think so either, but I do think that's going to be a good game. Same with Rutgers, Michigan. We already talked about Colorado, Oregon. This one will interest both of us. Ole Miss, number 15 in the nation, 3-0 at number 13, 2-1 Alabama. Do you think Alabama loses this game?
I do.
I do too. And can you believe we're going to have a 2-2 Nick Saban Alabama team?
I'm frothing at the mouth for this. I texted you in Alabama's last game, and I was just like, and Georgia was, having struggles too. They ended up coming back, but I was like, if Georgia and Alabama lost last week at the same time, Like there may have been another kid made. Like obviously it can't be with my wife. She's still healing. I don't know. I don't know. Somewhere you'd make
you
the
would have
kid.
grabbed a UNLV grad, both celebrated, and bam.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, you just said on this podcast that you have 2 kids. You're about to have 2 kids, which you're not about to have 2 kids. But
We don't know.
I'll just give
We
you
don't know.
3. I'll just make it a third with you.
There you go. Bam. There's room in this womb. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I miss this podcast. I miss you. I miss talking to you every day.
I do think, but I think we're both in agreement that Ole Miss beats Alabama. It's going to be glorious. Next up, 22 ranked UCLA at number 11 ranked Utah. Both 3-0. I think Chip Kelly's UCLA team beats this Utah team.
I agree.
And my college team has always been UCLA. I love that school. I love their colors. I love the bands on the field.
It has nothing to do with Chip Kelly being their coach.
I hate Chip Kelly with a passion in the NFL because he ruined that Eagles team, but he's a damn good college coach. And I think this might be his year to finally shine to what he used to be. Next up, two last games I want to talk about for the college football slate. Number 24, Iowa at number 7, Penn State, both 3-0 going into this game. Do you think Iowa State pulls off the upset?
No.
We're in agreement here. I think Penn State is too good, even though I kind of like this Iowa team. Last one. This is the big Saturday night game, which is going to be very legit, depending on how good that Oregon-Colorado game is. But Ohio State, number 6, at number 9, Notre Dame. Saturday night game in Big Bend. Who you picking in this one, Casino?
I'm going with my grandpa's favorite football team, going Notre Dame, and plus I don't like Michigan, but I hate Ohio State just because Brady went to Michigan, and so I go Michigan over Ohio State. I will root for Michigan during those games. So I hate Ohio State. I love Notre Dame, so I'm going to go with Notre Dame. I got to put that into the ether. It has to happen.
By all accounts, this looks to be one of the best Notre Dame teams. By everything I've read about them or heard about them, this looks to be one of the best Notre Dame teams, maybe in the last 30 years. So they are already 4-0. I think they beat Ohio State, and who knows, come Monday, maybe they're in the top 5, especially if all those other teams fall. Last thing, do you think number 5 USC playing Arizona State, number 1 Georgia playing UAB, and number 3 Texas playing Baylor, do you think any of those 3 teams should be on upset alert for any of those games?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think all those ones are blowouts. And then I think Ohio State being beat by Notre Dame.
I want to see USC keep climbing and then Colorado win. So we can see that Colorado USC.
Yeah. I think there's a potential for Florida State and a potential for Michigan to lose, which is why I think then obviously Ohio State losing, which is why I think Notre Dame probably bumps up to 5, maybe 6. But yeah. All right, Casino, you got anything else to say before we skedaddle out of here?
Oh man, no, I'm glad to be back. That was nice.
This was a good you already had the release a couple years ago or a couple months ago for your children. Now you have an immediate release on this podcast, which will be released out into the world. Yeah. So this has been the Only Sports Podcast, the epic return of Casino. We talked about everything. Good weekend of football. Dear Lord, there's a lot of good Sunday night or Sunday
and
games.
I don't have to go back to work.
Saturday
I don't have to go back to work until next Wednesday. So I'm enjoying this. Like, yes, we have our daughter and our son, but we're like confined to the living room. We're confined to our bedroom with him, and because all he's doing now is eating and sleeping, and then we're tummy time and whatnot. But we have to monitor our 2-year-old with him as well. So just dealing with 2 young kids at the same time. A lot of parents do it, but what I'm saying is I have that TV right there. And I've just been like, yes, I'm going to have nothing but football on all weekend, and I'm very excited.
Yeah. This is definitely one of those weekends where it's like, that meme, I think Barstool does it, where every time it's like Kevin going into the elevator with Jim and Pam, and they're like, "Hey Kev, how was your weekend?" And then it just superimposes, "Great, all I did was watch football for 48 hours or 72 hours or whatever." That is a meme specifically made for this weekend. This is going to be a
Right.
great weekend of sports. We'll talk about it on either Monday or Tuesday when we release the next episode.
But
This has
I'm
been the
also, though, like, not just for that football, but I know that we don't talk about soccer here, but the Champions League just started, and like a
so
lot
good
of the
sports weekend
a lot of
altogether.
overseas football leagues have started, and I've just like I'm already looking at like the 6 a.m. wake up calls to watch games, and I'm just like, oh, this is going to be such a good weekend.
And
Like
then
even if I didn't have a kid, I wouldn't probably sleep this weekend.
and then we are T minus a month and 2 days from the NBA season starting again. So
Sure,
all the sports, and
and
then we
hockey,
obviously
but hockey.
and hockey, and then we're going to start the MLB playoffs in a couple weeks. So
I haven't
great
watched
time for
an
sports.
ounce of Major League Baseball this year.
I just watched the Phillies, I think it was Philly Brave game the other day, and it's getting good. It's getting good. We can touch
Sure.
on some baseball next episode if we have time. But this has been the Only Sports Podcast. I'm Will. That's Casino. Adios.